Bioluminescence, Phase 2, Who Are You? Biolatency of Human Consciousness. Know thyself. Socrates. If you do not know who you truly are, you will never know what you really want. The force of that statement rests in the way it cuts through performance. Many people can explain what they do, what they own, who they know, what they post, what they aspire to, and what they have survived. Fewer can answer who they are in a way that remains true when the titles are removed. The applause fades, the masks crack, and the audience goes home. This phase begins there because the question, who are you, is not a decorative question, it is a pressure test. It reveals whether identity is rooted in living substance or arranged around borrowed surfaces. The phrase biolatency points toward what exists within human consciousness before it is fully expressed. Latency is hidden presence, stored potential, dormant force, possibility awaiting condition and ignition. In biology, a thing may remain latent until the right conditions activate it. In psychology, latent material may influence behavior without appearing directly in awareness. In spiritual life, a calling may remain unspoken for years before experience, discipline, suffering, or grace gives it language. To ask who are you within this framework is to ask not only what is visible in you now, but what has been waiting beneath habit, fear, environment, and social conditioning. This hidden dimension matters because much of human life is lived below the level of conscious authorship. People inherit patterns before they develop critique. They learn roles before they learn principles. They master adaptation before they master sincerity. A child learns how to be loved, how to avoid punishment, how to gain approval, how to read the emotional weather of a room, how to perform strength, softness, intelligence, humor, danger, or obedience. Long before philosophy arrives, survival teaches technique. The self that emerges from this process is often effective enough to function, but effectiveness is not the same as truth. A performed self can become so rehearsed that a person mistakes adaptation for essence. That is why Phase 2 must ask about the ethical, spiritual, and mental dimensions of identity. Who are you ethically when no witness is present and no reward is attached to doing the right thing? Who are you spiritually when belief is no longer measured by affiliation or vocabulary, but by attention, reverence, discipline, and order? Who are you mentally when distraction falls away and you are left alone with your own pattern of thought? These questions strip image from identity. They reveal that the hidden self is not discovered by slogans but by observing repeated action, private orientation, and inward climate. A useful distinction appears here. Faith is often what you do, while belief is often what you say. If that distinction holds even partly true, then many people are living double lives without realizing it. They profess values that do not govern them. They quote principles they have not embodied. They speak of freedom while submitting daily to impulse, fear, vanity, and imitation. They speak of love while practicing envy. They speak of truth while editing themselves for approval. This gap between declaration and embodiment is one of the central problems of selfhood. The person does not always lie intentionally. Often he simply has not studied the discrepancy closely enough to see it. Modern neuroscience helps explain why this discrepancy can persist. The brain is not a neutral observer, but a prediction engine. It constantly anticipates what reality is likely to be based on prior experience, then filters new information through those expectations. This creates efficiency, but it also creates inertia. Patterns repeated long enough begin to feel natural, then inevitable. A person raised to equate silence with safety may call passivity his personality. A person trained to equate conflict with danger may call avoidance her peace. A person rewarded for image may call performance authenticity. Repetition wraps itself around identity until the mask begins to feel like skin. This is one reason transformation feels destabilizing. To become more truthful often means becoming less familiar to yourself. Your old reflexes may protest. Your nervous system may interpret honesty as danger because older versions of your life trained concealment as protection. The same is true socially. When a person begins to step out of inherited performance, the people around him may react as if he has betrayed the script. In truth, he may simply be withdrawing from unconscious acting. Biolatency becomes visible at exactly this point. The hidden self begins pressing against the performed self, and the friction becomes impossible to ignore. No society produces purely independent minds. Social formation is universal. Families hand down emotional codes. Neighborhoods hand down style and caution. Schools hand down obedience structures and measures of intelligence. Religious systems hand down metaphysical assumptions and moral boundaries. Nations hand down stories about legitimacy, threat, virtue, and belonging. Media hand down images of power and desirability. Through all of this, a person becomes socially legible. But social legibility is not the end of the matter. The question is whether the formed self remains open to examination or hardens into permanent conformity. Conformity is not always weakness. It can be useful in early life. It teaches language, basic manners, technical skill, and forms of cooperation. A child cannot invent every structure from nothing. The problem begins when conformity remains unexamined in adulthood. Then a person may still be obeying emotional laws written for a version of the self that no longer exists. He may still be protecting an old belonging at the cost of present truth. She may still be performing a role that once kept peace but now keeps her dim. What once functioned as adaptation begins to function as imprisonment. This is why polarity matters. Human life is full of paired forces, order and chaos, individuality and belonging, sincerity and performance, stability and change, affirmation and critique. There are no societies composed entirely of free thinkers or entirely of conformists. There are always both impulses. Some people over-identify with rebellion and become addicted to reaction. Others over-identify with compliance and become unable to hear their own interior voice. Maturity requires neither total assimilation nor theatrical nonconformity. It requires conscious relation to both. Sometimes wisdom means alignment with tradition. Sometimes wisdom means divergence from it. The deeper task is to discern which is which. The age of social media intensifies this dilemma. The self is no longer only lived, it is displayed, edited, branded, measured, and monetized. What used to be private experimentation has become public performance. Attention has become currency. Visibility has become proof of existence for many. Under these conditions, the question, "Who are you?" is frequently replaced by, "What version of me produces response?" The replacement is subtle but devastating. It turns being into strategy. It rewards legibility over complexity and reaction over reflection. The psychology of platforms makes this worse. Human beings are drawn to intermittent reward. Unpredictable reinforcement keeps attention hooked more effectively than stable reward. Social media exploits this mechanism through variable responses. A post may be ignored, then suddenly praised, then criticized, then amplified. Over time, the user begins calibrating expression to maximize response. This is not just a technological problem, it becomes a metaphysical one. If a person repeatedly edits himself for response, does he still know what he believes when no one is looking? Does he still know what he values outside performance? Men, women, artists, thinkers, activists, believers, and skeptics all face this pressure in different forms. One man may perform invulnerability because his social field rewards dominance. Another may perform luxury because poverty once shamed him and display now promises symbolic revenge. A woman may perform desirability because social systems taught her visibility is tied to beauty. An intellectual may perform seriousness through quotation and critique while remaining disconnected from lived wisdom. A spiritual seeker may perform awakening through symbols, language, and selective outrage while remaining internally disordered. The external forms differ, but the underlying temptation is the same: to mistake curated signal for selfhood. This is where the concept of authenticity must be rescued from cliché. Thank you for spending time inside Bioluminescence. This glimpse is only the beginning, an excerpt from a larger vision taking shape in the mind and heart of Ben Solomon. Stay with us, there is much more to come.